Hi guys, today we're going to talk about how to build coverage with cream foundation. And as you all know, I am going to use my Seint Cream Foundation. It's going to be this one specifically. This is called Candlelit. This is my main highlight foundation color. I wanted to show you today that I'm going to be using a color corrector for this blemish. I don't need it actually. It doesn't have enough depth for it, but to show you how to build coverage with cream foundation, I thought it would be a great opportunity to show you that and how you can get the coverage you want, especially if you have problem areas on your skin and you don't have flawless skin, okay? So I'm gonna show you that today. So first things first, there are 3 important components to building a cream foundation. That is going to be your product, AKA your foundation, concealer, or color corrector, and or all. And then the second thing is going to be your brush, your tool. And the third thing is going to be the application. Okay, so the product. This is a cream foundation highlight color. The difference between a cream foundation and a liquid foundation, powder foundation, CC, BB, etc. is that typically cream foundations are higher in opacity, which means they're going to give you more coverage with less product, essentially. Okay, so this is this tin size right here that you see. This is, I mean, you can see it's just the width of 2 fingers. It's not very long. It's pretty small, but this is a lot of bang for your buck in this tiny little tin because it's so opaque that you do not have to use as much product as if you were using liquid foundation, powder foundation, CC, BB, etc. Okay, so when it comes to building coverage though, the consistency is a lot different when you're applying it. So with liquid foundation, you would put a couple dabs on and then you would spread it around with your brush and or you would use a beauty sponge. With cream foundation, if you are looking for coverage and you want to build coverage, you are going to avoid any swiping motions or any feather stroking motions, okay? With this, you have to use a different application method. You cannot apply this product the same way that you apply the other makeup. So there is a little bit difference in that. Now, if you're doing light coverage, you can do a feather stroke motions and apply the makeup that way. But when you're building coverage, you're not looking to do that. You want to build coverage to create the opacity to cover blemishes and problem areas. Okay, the second thing is your brush. Now I have another brush, it's called the Buff brush, but this one is a medium coverage brush. This is the dense side of this brush. This is actually a blush and bronzer brush, but I also use it as a foundation brush if I want medium coverage. The reason is because the bristles are fairly dense. I can get pretty good coverage with this brush. Now, if I wanted full coverage, which I don't typically go for, it's gonna be the Buff brush, and I'll put it right here because I can't find it right now. I don't know where I put it. So I'll just show you the picture right here. Now, with the brush, the denser the bristles, which means the tighter packed they are, the more coverage you're going to get. So if I dip this on, and I'll show you the difference between this brush and my light coverage brush. So if I take some of my product and I apply it onto a piece of paper, if I take my light coverage brush, this is called the blend brush, and I apply that to the piece of paper, let's see if I can do it justice. You're going to see how much different the application is going to be with a light coverage versus a more dense or medium to full coverage brush. That is very important when you want to build coverage, is to find a brush that is going to give you the coverage that you're looking for. If it's going to be a light coverage brush, typically you're not going to be looking to build, you're not going to be building layers and you're not going to be building coverage typically. With a medium coverage or a full coverage brush, you are going to want to build coverage. You're going to want a little bit more opacity on top of your face. You don't want much shining through. Now, the third thing is the application, and I'm going to start putting my makeup on with this brush to show you the application that you're going to do when you want to build coverage. So with my light coverage brush, I'll just show you on this side, I typically do like these swirling motions. I can do a tapping motion, but again, when I light coverage, I'm not looking for a lot. I just want to even out the uneven skin tone that I have, the discoloration. So I would do kind of this feathering, like swirling motion. With a full coverage or a medium coverage brush, and when you want to build coverage, let's start down here. I'm going to do this motion. It's going to be a tapping and stippling motion. You can see how much coverage that gave me. I'm not going to swipe and I'm not going to swirl with these brushes, especially when I want to build coverage and when I want a full coverage look. So I'm going to just come across and come up, and you're just gonna do this. You're just gonna pounce all over your face. And you can do the same thing with a beauty blender or some kind of sponge. You can do the same thing and get good coverage with that as well if you don't have a brush yet. or you're not comfortable with the brush yet, you can do the same motion, but you're just gonna do this stippling motion, okay? Okay, so now let's talk about when you're using a color corrector. So this right here, it doesn't have enough depth for me to actually use a color corrector, but I'm gonna use one in this video just to show you how to build coverage when you're using a color corrector so that you're not taking away the progress of the color corrector with the foundation you're placing on top of it. Losing my camera, it's falling off. Okay, so today for my color corrector, I'm gonna use a shade called Amber. It's a bit darker than my actual skin color, but it's got enough depth to it that it's going to help provide coverage and do a little bit of color correcting on this blemish to take away the depth. Whenever you want to take away depth from a blemish, use a shade that's darker than your natural shade, even a few shades sometimes, depending on the depth of the blemish. So I'm just going to apply that, and you can see how it's just offsetting that redness and that deep purple that was on there. Okay, so this I'm just tapping on. I can use a brush as well, but in this case I'm just using my finger, and I'm just tapping it onto the excess color. Now, I want to, it looks good in the camera, but in person, there's this kind of like this orangish, peachish color right here in the middle of my forehead. So I want to make it all go seamless with the rest of my face and with the rest of the color on my face. So to build coverage, it's going to be the same motion. I'm going to take that dense side of the brush. I'm going to apply it into my main shade right here. And then I'm just going to tap onto that color. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to bounce, because if I do a swipe, I'm going to take away the progress of what that color corrector is doing, and it's just going to defeat the whole purpose. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish some of my makeup going around so you can kind of see. And then of course, when you're building coverage, be sure when you're building coverage with cream foundation is always set your makeup. You can set it with a setting spray or a powder or both, depending on your preference. I like to set with a setting powder afterwards. I usually prime with a setting spray, which is kind of weird, I know. But this helps my makeups to stay all day, as well as on those blemished areas where I built that coverage. So that's extremely important, so remember that as a tip. So that is how I build coverage with cream foundation. If you struggle with building your cream foundation and any questions that you might have for me, please let me know in the comments below. But those are 3 specific areas and 3 specific tips that can help you along your way. I hope you guys have a great I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I will see you guys next Tuesday with another video. And be sure to like and subscribe, and please share this video if you think it would help anybody. Thanks for watching, guys, as always, and I will see you guys later. Bye.